Hi, and welcome to the series of Spilling the Tea with me. I'm Dilnaz Zhumabayeva, a Kazakh girl who moved to Finland 3 years ago, and since then I'm still exploring the Finnish way of living. And today we're going to talk about one of the most awkwardest and cringiest stories of my life, or some of the stories that I overheard from strangers in cafeteria, bus stops, and somewhere else. So let's get started. The first story dates back to 2021 when I just moved to Finland. It was November, it was already getting dark. Some people were in the Christmas mood already, including me, I think. I'm not sure, but I remember myself being kind of happy about the upcoming Christmas and maybe returning back home. So I was going on the train towards Helsinki. After that, I took metro. And when I was leaving from the metro station, I already had some expectations about the neighborhood where I'm going to. And then on the escalator going up towards the exit of the metro station, I saw one man. He was black, maybe like in his 30s, 40s, and he was looking at me, and I smiled back because I was 18 years old. I was taught to be friendly and welcoming to people and kind to people, so I was smiling almost all the time towards all the strangers, besides really suspicious ones. And that was my problem. If you needed to hear this, I don't know, maybe you did, maybe you already knew this, but you're getting in less troubles if you're going everywhere with just straight face compared to when you're smiling and looking approachable, because if you look approachable, people will approach you. If you look like you're not approachable, people act accordingly. So after that and many other cases that happened to me, I decided not to smile too much to strangers and keep the smile only to my friends and loved ones. So yeah, back then I still smiled. And I did not expect, but after I exited the metro station and was looking into my Google Maps to check out the route further, this dude, he approached me and asked like, "Hey, are you half black, half Japanese?" I was confused and I was like, "No, not really. I'm from Kazakhstan." And after that, mind, he is a black dude in his 30s or 40s. He's like 2 meters long. I started to get a bit nervous and worried about my safety, just because it's a man, basically. So after that, he just smiles and starts talking in fluent Russian. I was like, wow, how is this possible? Like, where did you learn this good Russian? And apparently, after leaving his home country, he traveled to Ukraine to study in medical school, and there he learned Russian and understands Ukrainian. So that was kind of cool, super unexpected, and I didn't think of talking to any strangers during that evening, but it was what it was. And then we started talking about our life in Finland. I was going towards my bus stop, and apparently he was going in the same way, which is also a bit suspicious when you think about it. But back then I was a bit naive, maybe. So I was just going towards the bus stop. He started asking me about my studies and experiences. He had some experience with environmental engineering, as far as I remember. And then at some point he was just like, "Do you want to become a president?" I'm like, "No, not really." And he was like, "Wow, so mature of you. Many people just want to become president but don't understand the responsibilities." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so. Oh, there is my bus. Bye." That was a really weird interaction that we had, in my opinion, especially remembering it, because I kind of looked like a kid, because I was 18, as I said, and I think I was not wearing makeup, so I looked pretty young. And talking to a young girl is a little bit weird when you're a grown-ass man, you know? Or maybe those are just my prejudices. Please let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm just judgmental and critical, which I know that I am. Not in a bad way. I don't want to offend anyone or say anything offensive during this video. I'm just saying about things that I decided that are awkward to me and I consider as cringe. So let's forget about it. The next story is kind of also about a stranger. But this time I was in Tampere. I was sitting in a cafeteria close to city center. I think it was after my university and I wanted to get some coffee around 2 to 3 p.m. And the whole area was kind of empty, like it was not crowded that you can't find a seat. It was pretty empty and a lot of seats were available. But so this dude in his 40s, minimum like 38 years old, he decides to sit right in front of me. Like, okay, I understand that I was sitting on this kind of sofa. There was a sofa table and a sofa on the other side. It was not like a normal table. And I was sitting there because of a power socket. And then he just sits on the sofa in front of me. And there were other sofas as well as armchairs, as well as other chairs, but he decided to sit there. But I was like, okay, whatever, maybe he's also looking for a power socket. And I didn't really mind him. I was doing my own stuff, maybe just scrolling through Instagram that I do really often. By the way, if you want to follow me on Instagram, here's my profile. I didn't really pay attention to him, and then I was starting to grab my things and preparing to leave. And then and all this time he was talking on the phone on a language that I do not understand. After that, he was like, oh, I'm so sorry that I was speaking so loudly and maybe disturbing you. I was like, oh, that's okay, like I didn't care. And after that, he started asking me some of the questions about myself, and for some reason, I decided to reply to him. And I was like, yes, I study here. I study this, blah, 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 in this university. And he was like, oh, that's nice. Do you come here often? I'm like, no, I don't really drink coffee that often, but yeah, sometimes I come here. And then he started saying like, yeah, that's actually expensive if you don't work and come here for coffee. He said that he was already living in Finland for over a decade or close to a decade, I don't remember, but quite a long time. And he said that he speaks Finnish and he has a couple of Finnish friends. But then he started saying, yeah, don't even think that you're going to get any Finnish friends here because Finnish people would not trust you. You are an international. They're not going to trust you. You will never have Finnish friends. And I'm like, if this is your reality, don't project it to my reality, you know? Of course, I didn't say it out loud because if you say too much, it can be also dangerous for your own safety and health. I was just listening to him and thinking about, oh my God, I really want to go out of here. And then he continues saying like, oh, you don't work? You should definitely find some job. What are you going to do after you finish your studies? How are you going to prolong your residence permit? I'm like, bro, this is none of your business, first of all. And second of all, maybe I don't even want to stay there. Or if I want to stay there, maybe I will find a way. Like I will continue my studies, find a job, and it's my problem, not your problem. And he started saying like, yeah, actually, I have heard that McDonald's is hiring internationals. You should go and work for McDonald's. And then he said for a bit and he was like, or you should start cleaning. I know a lot of cleaning jobs in hotels. And I was like, yeah, those are some of the options. I don't have anything against those jobs or those workplaces, but it was so arrogant of him to start suggesting me jobs that I am not even asking for. It would be one thing if he was owning some company and he was suggesting me to get a job in his company. Like maybe that's a way of recruitment, but he was just suggesting some of the big places that can hire people, and he has nothing to do with neither with me or neither with the company itself. So that was super weird, and I was like, okay, I have to run to my other class. I mean, I didn't have any class, obviously. It was like 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. But I was like, yeah, I need to run to my class, bye. And he was like, can I get your number? And I was like, I'm in a hurry, bye. That was another story of me encountering a stranger who started talking to me, which is not really common in Finland. it's not common in Finland to talk to strangers. And I'm happy about it, because every time that I talk to strangers, it ends up to be super cringe and awkward. Or maybe I'm making it awkward, I don't know. Another lesson that I learned from this is don't really talk to strangers that are seen as suspicious or you feel like they're not your people. And let's move to the next story. Next story is also weird, but not as creepy because it was happening online. As part of my university era, I was a student ambassador. So those are people who are responsible of talking to prospective students, like those who want to study in this university, and you can help them to answer questions about your study program, like what kind of subjects do you have, or how do you like the professor, or maybe about the city, like how do you live here in Tampere, what kind of clothes do you need in winter and stuff like that. But there is a special category of people who come to this events or into the messages through like special platform for university ambassadors and start just sending you roses and start saying like, oh my god, I feel like you're the love of my life. Please wait for me in Tampere. I will apply now and we will see next September. And it's not only one person who does that. It's like multiple people who do this to multiple representatives of students in the university. And that's so creepy and weird. And I'm not sure if those people are even in the university, if they got in, if they came to Finland or no. But I hope that I don't meet them. So this cringe story happened just during this past week. I was eating lunch in the cafeteria. I usually go there alone to eat because if I talk to somebody and eat, it will take like an hour for me to finish my meal. But if I eat and just stay silent, it takes me around like 15 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on the size of the meal. But I like going to eat alone. And I like it especially because I can overhear some of the conversations that people have, especially if those are some students who are speaking in English. I can understand some of the Finnish conversations, but not to the fullest. So this time, a group of exchange students, 4 people from France and 1 person from Britain, and I was sitting really next to them, so I was invested in all the stories that they were telling. Really crazy story. These exchange students from France, they're like, oh my god, university food is the best because you can take free coffee, free cookies here. And I'm just sitting there eating and thinking, no, you cannot take free coffee. Like you need to say at the cashier desk that, yeah, can I have please a coffee included into my main meal? And you pay something like €1, less than €1 sometimes, or more than €1 sometimes for the coffee. This dude, he was like, yeah, it's so nice to just drink coffee with the lunch. And the British dude asks like, oh, but don't you pay for it? I was like, no, I just go there because no one is looking and grab a cup of coffee. I was shocked, but it was not the most shocking part because another person from their group says like, yeah, stealing coffee and cookies is the least thing that he does. And I'm like, all right, what is there more? And apparently this dude, okay, for the context, we don't have dormitories here in Finland. It's more like student housing. So the whole building is dedicated for students to live in, but they live in like normal apartments or there are shared apartments. So like your bathroom and kitchen are shared among 2 or 3 residents of the apartment and you have your own room. So basically he lives in this kind of apartment and there you also have sometimes gym on the ground floor, sauna somewhere else, and the laundry room. And apparently this dude went to the sauna in his building and decided to steal a bench from sauna and put it into his balcony. What? That was one of the craziest things that I have ever heard happening in the student housing. Maybe there are more. Maybe I'm just not aware of that because I'm a grandma myself. Like I just sit at home, drink my tea and spill tea to you. That was super crazy to hear and I did not expect this to happen. And the last story of today is also from the cafeteria and it's not as cringy, but when people say, for example, Asian people look kind of same and they can't differentiate if this was this person or it was another person. I mean, I can understand where they come from, but this also works towards Finnish people. Like some of the Finnish people, they look so similar to each other, especially from far away, and especially for a person with me with a bad eyesight. And I was again in the cafeteria. It was in the university where my boyfriend is studying. We went there and we scheduled a lunch with our mutual friend. And we were walking there, and I'm just saying hi and waving like this to a guy, thinking it's our friend, but it was not. I was so embarrassed and I turned red, and my boyfriend turned red as well, and he was kind of awkwarded. But I don't know. I thought it's him, but it wasn't. And this just proves the point that Finnish people also kind of look same to each other. And this didn't happen only once. It happened actually once again, but in my own university. I thought a girl is my classmate, but she was not. And the most awkward thing is that these people who I waved to and said hi, they don't say anything back. Like, you can see if I'm saying hi to you and looking into your eyes, but why don't you say hi just for the sake of saying hi? I would just wave at least, but these people, maybe they were shocked or embarrassed. I don't know. I hope I didn't make them too uncomfortable. But those were all of the stories for today. Some of them were really cringe, some of them were not that cringe, maybe. Some of them were creepy, and I hope none of the stories were offensive to anyone. And if they were, I'm really sorry for that. I just tried to tell about my perspective of the story and how I view things. But if you want to know more of the cringe stories that I have encountered during my life in Finland, or some other stories, please make suggestions and write down your ideas in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and I'm saying you bye.